sure many of you have been watching television and have seen all the various ads being run by the various candidates running for our governorship of Virginia. Republican Ken Cuccinelli and Democrat Terry McAuliffe have been running ads lambasting one another about their character and who they are and what type of policies they will implement if becoming governor. Today we're going to analyze political campaigns, which is objective CE.5c of the political process unit. Voters, and when you all eventually become voters, will evaluate information presented in political campaigns to make reasonable choices among the candidates running. So when you see an advertisement on TV, it'll be up to you to realize and detect, well, maybe this isn't right, or maybe something's a little bit skewed about these facts. The media plays an important role in our political process. More so than ever now, the mainstream media has been dictating almost the agenda of this country. The media chooses really what issues have relevance in this country. And it's because of issues that they put on television, that's what gauges the interest of the American people. There are 4 strategies for evaluating campaign literatures, speeches, and the advertisements you see on TV, YouTube, or listen to on the radio. So 4 strategies again. So when you hear these ads come across the air, it's very important that you know, listen, wow, I learned these strategies and skills, and I now can evaluate effectively and make a reasonable choice during this election.
Can we have track tea to the main office?
The first thing,
track tea.
And we'll
Thank you.
pause for a second. Track team to the main office. The first thing,
Can we also have Gavin Kent to the main office? Gavin Kent, thank you.
Okay, Gavin, get to the main office. Anyways, the first thing is be able to separate fact from fiction. Just like in a library, you go to various areas, you go to the fiction or the non-fiction section. Fiction is like make-believe, Harry Potter, stories about princesses and dragons, etc., and dwarfs and trolls and hobbits. Non-fiction is real facts, or at least writing that should be based off of historical facts and primary documents. So again, when you get these little mailers in the mail, it's important to look through them and say, oh, this could be a little bit stretch of the truth. This seems more like fiction. It's important to detect bias in the media. A lot of people, you hear the common argument that the media is biased against conservatives or Republicans, or that it unfavorably defends and supports the Democratic policies. A bias, again, is like when you kind of have a leaning towards something. It's more natural. So, for example, I have a bias towards the color red. I've always liked the color red growing up, so the first car I bought when I was down here was a 2007 red Ford Mustang. I have a bias towards red. When I go to a car lot, the first cars that stuck out in my mind were red cars. I have a bias towards red. Some people, for example, are called dog people or cat people. You have a natural inclination to like one over the other. I have a bias towards dogs. I'm a dog person. Whereas my wife has a bias towards cats. She likes cats more than dogs. So that really works out interesting when I'm allergic to cats. It's important to evaluate the sources and know where your information has come from. Certain magazines are more reliable than others, and certain publications are more reliable. To get facts, you would go to Time and Newsweek. Life and People are more about celebrity gossip and highlighting various aspects of celebrity life. You need to be able to evaluate your sources and make sure they're reliable and the information they are presenting is actually factual. And finally, it's important, and we've gone over this word before, to identify propaganda. And propaganda is information, again, that deliberately stretches the truth. It's spread widely, it's used to harm people, and again, it's not always true. Usually, there's a false aspect to it. For example, when you ride alone, you ride with Hitler. Those were posters in World War II. It's not that if you drove alone to work during World War II at the home front, you were a Nazi. But the implication was, if you're wasting fuel that could be used for American troops, you might as well be supporting the Nazis. So we have many examples of propaganda, yellow journalism, the sinking of the Maine, okay? All those are examples of propaganda. There are even more. Again, in our own life, we always make the enemy look bad. During World War II, the enemy was the Japanese or the Germans, the Huns as they were called. The Nazis effectively used propaganda during Hitler's reign in the Holocaust to target Jewish people. And now there are 4 ways in which the media plays a role in election season. They have a major role in election season, and it's important to kind of tune into them and realize and detect bias, evaluate information, the sources, and determine whether or not it's propaganda or not. The first thing the media does, it identifies candidates. One of the key things candidates are always looking for is exposure. Many candidates love being on the media. If you watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox, or any other news show, you might notice there's a lot of the same politicians on the show. It's because they love having their face out there. It exposes them. And usually the candidates who win the party nominations for president are ones that have good media coverage. The media decides to emphasize selected issues. A couple years back, you couldn't watch a news show, without somewhere mentioning the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Jump forward 5-6 years, we don't hear about Iraq and Afghanistan anymore. All we hear about right now is the government shutdown, the debt limit, health care, whether you call it the Affordable Health Care Act or Obamacare. These are all the issues the media is focusing on. The media writes editorials, creating political cartoons, and publishing op-ed pieces. Again, this is information where someone's viewpoint is either expressed in their opinion in writing or in their drawings. So again, these have a bias usually. Cartoonists and writers do tend to have a bias in their writing. And of course, it's important to look at the media because they broadcast different positions. You can watch, if you turn on the news at 8 o'clock at night, you can watch a show on Fox, you can watch a show on CNN, you can watch a show on MSNBC. Depending on the show and the leading and the bias of the show, that's going to be kind of where you're going to see whether they have a favorable portrayal of the president or they have an unfavorable portrayal of the president. Again, and a lot of people claim that Fox News is more of a conservative show, whereas MSNBC and CNN would be more of your liberal shows. So what is important to understand about all this information? Voters use information and they evaluate it to make reasonable choices amongst candidates running for office. So again, all that literature you're getting in the mail, all the ads you see on TV, it's important to evaluate that information to make good decisions. And the media plays a crucial role in the political process. It can be a candidate's best friend or their worst enemy. So, thank you so much.